It's a tough subject, Jessica. Season 3, episode 30, if you're into like numerology. But more importantly than all the numbers is the month we're recording this.
I was about to say
Say it.
it's serendipitous. My favorite word. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, folks.
And isn't every month, Jessica, when you think about it? Isn't every
It's
month?
also Recovery Month, by the way, but that's a whole different story.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of things around there. There's hazing. It's hazing prevention month for with all the colleges I speak at. It's all tied into mental health. It's a big month. It's also a month that ends in R, and you're supposed to be allowed to eat oysters. I learned that. So,
Oh, I am so ready for fall. And you know what's funny, Dennis? I know I've come a long way. My dad died in October. I hated fall forever. I love fall now. I finally, so for folks that attach things, it's happened. I finally love it again.
on that note, another thing that happens in the fall, one of the larger organizations in the suicide prevention space is the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. They do a lot of their fall walks. They're
Yes.
community-based walks, and then in the spring they do the campus walks. Have you ever done anything along those lines to like in a memorial aspect for your father? Have you ever done an honor walk or anything for your dad?
I have not done the AFSP walk, but I did do an all-night relay race from Columbia to Charleston. I was terrified, and I put on the back of my shirt in memory of my dad. I put his name there, and I felt like that was wing. There were wings that were holding on to me, getting me through something that I wanted to challenge myself with and do.
Wow, like Jessica, I love that. You don't you don't do anything halfway. I said, do you ever do like most of these community walks? Like, yeah, you do a mile around a track. Like, I walked from
I'm a
California
little
to
arrogant with the
Maine,
walk.
but I think I yeah, it took me 3 days. No, you're crazy. That's nuts. It was an
It's
overnight
part
walk.
of the head. Well, yeah, it was all night long. It was amazing. It was challenging, but that's part of my healing is I have to, because I feel like I lost part of my life when I went through everything. And now I really just like to grasp life and just do as much as I can and challenge myself and overcome obstacles. And it's
All
kind of
right.
like my thing.
It's on my mind. The walk season's coming up, and I'm also leaving tonight. No, tomorrow night. I'm not leaving tonight. I better not be. But tomorrow night, I'm going to fly to Colorado, and I'm
Mm.
speaking at a group there. They have a memorial service on Sunday, and I'm the keynote speaker. And this, I've done this a couple times, and this is it's going to sound weird to the listener, but like that's my people, like that's my audience. Like in a weird way, I look forward to that because I'm not doing like a community program with people who've never been impacted. I'm like preaching to the choir. Like these
Mm.
people are there for the very same reason I'm there. And I just feel this weird, awful connection that we're in a club that we want no more members.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yes. The club nobody wants to be in.
yeah, it's just, I feel like I'm with my tribe in a weird way. And I did one in Michigan last year up in the Detroit area, Plymouth, Michigan. It was Kevin Song was the name of the group. And after I spoke, they did a breakout for people who lost somebody to suicide. Like, not only am I the keynote, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of a big deal, right? Heck no, I'm a participant talking about my people. I sat in I went from being on stage to now in a room in a circle, and you're just one of many. And again, the club that we want no more members, but that was more therapeutic, I think, than me doing the talk, participating in that session, which I was not a facilitator. I was not training anybody. I was Dennis Gillan, a guy who lost two brothers to suicide.
Yeah. I understand the your people thing. Although I say you are, and you've all been through something similar, but I have noticed that people have very different feelings sometimes about it. I have a friend that won't speak about his father and has a lot of, I don't want to use the word hate, but they're still very, very angry. And I
Still
don't know what the
raw.
situation was. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's not my business to say it. They would never talk about it. And a lot of people are like that. And that's okay. You know, it's your grief.
You do what you got to do. I'm looking at the group this week. Speak Up, Reach Out in Eagle County, Colorado. That's where I'm going. Vale, Colorado.
Oh, fancy.
Fancy schmancy. It's the first trip ever I've done for suicide prevention where the lovely Mrs. Gillan decided she wanted
Oh,
to come.
I knew you were going to say that. Mr. Seel went last week with me to one of my meetings, but it wasn't suicide, but ended up talking. I have to tell you this real quick. I
Tell
have to
me.
say this,
Lay
y'all.
it on it.
So I'm in this meeting. I'm in this big national association. I'm the president of the board. Got to talk to people, and we're out in Reno, Nevada, and I love, love, love seeing these people. They're just great people, but it has nothing to do with suicide necessarily. It's really around rural workforce. And I start telling some friends of mine about this podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. I want to follow it. And I gave him the name, and there's this man sitting across from me. And I thought he felt weird about me talking about it. So they were asking me questions. You know me, you were like the same way. We will just talk. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People were like, oh my God,
It
TMI,
took a while to
right?
get here. It took a while to
Yes,
get here,
it did.
though.
Yes, it
Let's
did.
let's be fair to the folks listening where it's raw. It took a long ass
Yes.
time to be able to even say it without crying.
No. And sometimes we still do. Sometimes we have backpedaling. It depends, trigger moments. But anyways, I looked up and this man was like, I told him that, and I was going in, I don't even know. I was talking about my dad, I think, and they left, and he goes, oh, alrighty then. I felt so weird. Well, I ended up talking to him, so I was like, all right, I have to strike up a conversation with this man. Well, he was a physician at the VA.
Whoa.
And he starts telling me about their work that they do in suicide and, how he lost a friend and he never saw anything coming and there were no signs and really opened up. And honestly, it was kind of awesome because I was like, okay, I totally misjudged this person. He had something to say, but he felt uncomfortable, which is okay. We all do. But he eventually opened up to me after it was just me and him sitting there talking, and I was just kind of, I don't know, you just find connection in the weirdest spaces and weirdest situations sometimes.
Because you were being vulnerable. You talked about your loss and you opened up. And then, they always say, when I'm up there speaking, I'll go, oh, it's a safe room. I don't get to determine if it's a safe room. The person who's listening gets to determine if it's a safe room. The person who's feeling vulnerable determines if it's safe. I could say it
I
all I
didn't even
want.
know. I didn't
So
even
you
know if
did
it
it.
was.
You modeled the behavior. You talked about what you're doing. You talked about your loss. And this guy said, well, crap, I could tell her now.
Right. Right.
I don't know if he said, oh, crap, but that was me ad-libbing
No,
a
he
little.
said, I didn't know what happened. He's like, my friend did some work for me. I told him I'd give him a 6-pack. He said, get with me next time. And he's like, and then he died. Did he know? And this is a physician and that works with people in the military. Brought up some really interesting thoughts about suicide, veteran suicide. But it's always good, even if I don't 100% agree with some things that he said. You learn from listening to people with different opinions, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
And so it was
absolutely.
great. But yeah, I did feel a little embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie. When he said "alrighty," then I was like, "Oh, I've said too much."
What was he saying
About
already then? Like kind of a big deal already then. We have a celebrity in the house. What was he saying?
no,
Like,
it was like you're sitting here at the lunch table, and all of a sudden you're pouring your heart out about your father's death and how this is your work and your passion. And I was like, "Whoops." Then I was like, "I guess I'm a lot."
by the way, can you pass the salt and pepper? It's a lunch table. Are you gonna eat that
Can I
dessert?
get a refill?
Yeah, you're gonna finish that dessert. I'll kill it for you. Oh, so memorials, your memorials. Like we're talking about this, and yeah, I've done. It's probably they're near and dear to my heart. The American Veteran Suicide Prevention event they had at the walk was the first time I ever publicly spoke about my brothers. So that near and dear to my heart. That's what started this little thing I'm on, this journey, and I didn't want to do it. And what they did, did I ever tell you what they did right before I was speaking? I'm super
No.
nervous. I'm about to tell my story. I got 5 minutes or so to tell the story about my brothers and what the walk meant to me. And right before I went on, they took a microphone and they passed it around the crowd, and everybody said the name of the loved one they lost.
Oh,
I watched my mom take the microphone and she passed it. She didn't say Mark or Matthew. She couldn't do it. She couldn't say my brother's names. So I saw that, and I'm watching the microphone come around because when it comes down around to me, I'm on. So I'm just waiting for these folks to get done, and then they're going to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker, Dennis Gillan." And right as it coming down, this kid grabs the microphone from his mom, like she's going to pass it over him. She says the name of her husband, I'm assuming, and she goes to pass the microphone over to this kid, and he grabs her arm, and the microphone ends up right in front of his mouth, and he says, "My daddy."
Oh, and then you had to speak?
I'm tearing up telling the story. Then they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Gillan." I start bawling. I had sunglasses on. Thank God I heard my daddy. And that's what suicide meant to this kid. You know, he's there memorialized, which is kind of cool that the mom brought him to this event to say, "Hey, you know, you're not alone," because this kid has to grow up, you know, the stigma that follows a suicide loss. But now the kid was out, you know, he knows he has a tribe out there of people that are suffered a loss like this. But boy, oh boy, that started the waterworks for me. And they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, our future speaker and top fundraiser, Dennis Gillan." It was a hot mess.
I mean, it's human. It's a human. I guarantee you were not the only person in that room that had tears running down their face. People shouldn't expect speakers not to be emotional. I mean, you're a human being. It doesn't matter if you're up there with a microphone or sitting in the audience.
Yeah, I saw that kid on the way out and I tripped him. I just tripped him. I said, "Listen, don't you ever do that to me again. I'm a professional speaker. You blew my set." No, I couldn't even look over where he was. I could not look over to that side. Like, you know, when you're scanning, you're working the
Kudos to
crowd
his
and you're
mom.
scanning.
I agree. Yeah.
I couldn't even look over. If I caught,
Oh yeah. No.
if I made eye contact with that kid, it was over again. Like I'm already barely started. And
How old do you think he was?
by 8 or 9, something. So let's think about this. 11. So that was 14 years ago. This kid's now 22 years old. Hopefully he got through the tough part of puberty and teen life. And hopefully he's a fine young man who's doing great things in the world. That's my prayer. But that's the memorial that started it all. And then I got a call to speak after that. And I thought I bombed. And they said, "Hey, come to speak at USC." And I bombed there. But I all say that to go back to this Speak Up, Reach Out annual memorial, ceremony. If you are in the Vail, Colorado area, it's September 3rd. We're recording this. We'll probably get on the air right after the memorial, but it's September 7th. And it's a Sunday morning. It's 9:30 to 12. I'll be out of there by 12. And this is the weird thing about life. Can I just tell you a funny little story that's going to happen after this? My wife's coming with me, so we have to do something. We have to go on a hike or get out of our heads. You know, we have to do something. We all found out there's a Bavarian festival, and she has Bavarian roots. It's like a Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I love a good Oktoberfest.
In this area, in this case. So I may go from like a suicide prevention meeting to
To your
like,
lederhosen?
to an Oktoberfest.
Lederhosen, whatever they.
Yeah, that's you nailed it. But isn't that life in a weird way? Like you have these ups and these downs all in one day, probably within a half hour. And I'm going to tell the crowd that too. I'm going to say, "Listen, if you see me today over at the Oktoberfest, you got to know I'm trying to live my life. I'm trying.
Yeah.
It can't be all memorials. You know,
Not healthy.
I think about my brothers every damn day. Every day my eyes well up once or twice. Every day of my life. They're welling up right now. I could feel it. But every now and then we owe ourselves to go to festivals. We owe it to ourselves. And it's going to be a weird paradox. I don't know how to go. And then I'm going to do my, I talk about my sobriety. I'm coming up on that, a billion seconds of sobriety.
Recovery.
Yeah. So, and then they'll see me at Bavarian Festival, like a couple steins of fake beer. And they're like, "Look at that guy's a hypocrite."
You lied. You straight up lied.
He's a lying sack of crap.
Well, you could do mocktails now and beer without.
No, they make some.
I've done mocktails.
They
Isn't
make
that
some
weird that you have to do it?
incredible. Every brewery I go to makes a root beer now. Every brewery I go to makes a root beer, and they make some incredible non-alcoholic beers. But I may have one, and Jessica, I always feel paranoid about this. Like I'll take it and I'll pour it in a glass, and then the waiter will come to grab the can if it's like Athletic or
Hey,
Sierra
No,
Nevada.
don't take that. Everybody needs to see it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We need to turn that label out towards the crowd in case someone walks by and goes, "There's that son of a gun getting wasted." Drinking his 0.4% alcohol beer. but I do worry
I'm
about that.
I'm
But
I'm not. I am a beer drinker, but not a lot. But
um,
I do enjoy the flavor of a good beer.
this is so you've done you've done things something for your dad. This is a chance. I'm reading their website for lost survivors, their friends and family, and anyone in the community who's been touched by suicide to come together. Wow, we get a
So
bunch.
I'm doing that talk. If I'm not Dennis, folks, but I'm doing my first little talk. I'm
Talk to me.
scared. But hey, here's the fun thing. It's September the 5th. That's my husband's birthday. I'm doing my first legitimate speaking engagement on my husband's birthday,
Wow.
who I know my dad would loved,
Yeah.
who when I first met him, he would die if he knew I was telling y'all this. My dad had these ugly socks that he wore. The tube socks, that men used to wear. I've never seen another man
I.
wear them. They were gray with red stripes.
Oh boy.
My husband had a pair. I was like, oh my God. And then I got weirded out because my husband's 13 years older than me. I'm like, do I have like daddy issues? I don't know. Things he says and does, the music, he's closer to he's like 5 years younger than my mother. But
This
I just felt that's one of the things weird. It's going to sound so weird, but it was just, there was a comfort there.
isn't that what they say? You marry your parents. Like I married my mom in a weird way with Christine, and then you. They say it, but we don't mean it. But
It was just socks, Dennis. It was
the
just
socks. I got you. I got you. So talk
If
to
he'd
me.
have pulled out the
All
coaching
right.
shorts, I would have been out. Just
So
saying.
it's September's Suicide Prevention Month. We both got these speaking gigs. We're both going to go out there. What is your theme? I just give a little teaser here. It's in Aiken, South Carolina, right?
It is. It's Friday from 12 to 2 in Aiken, South Carolina. And it is, the theme is hope.
That's a good theme.
I mean, a lot of times folks think it's going to be, there are going to be some tough things. But I think really what it is for me and what I usually like to end with, and it really kind of correlates with what I do for a living, is how raising awareness in the community, not just of suicide prevention, but what is your role in the community when there is loss for that family or that group of people? Because it's not just to bring a casserole. I'm a Christian. I pray. Praying is absolutely necessary in my opinion. There has to be more.
Oh yeah.
And here's why I say that.
Thoughts and
You were
prayers.
talking about that little boy, and I'm going to tell you what made me think about it. My brother was 12 when my dad died. My brother also attempted suicide 20 years ago. He's disabled because of it and has gone through a whole lot since then. And one of the things that I remember is my dad was a huge hunter. And he was a deer hunter and fisherman, and that's just what he did.
Yeah.
And people came up to my brother because my brother would go with him. Dad would take guys that I knew that didn't have father figures in their life, hunting, fishing, teaching them about the outdoors. And people came up to my mom and said, "We're going to take my brother JR. We're going to take him hunting. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." It upsets me to say this, so I'm going to take a minute, but not one person ever took my brother hunting. And if I could think about things that hurt me more than anything outside just the loss, it was that. Because I truly believe that would have at least had some impact on my brother's future. He was forgotten completely. This is a 12-year-old little boy, the youngest of us. I was 18. And I want to implore people, even now when I say, I'll be there for you, I mean it. Let me give you some examples of what I can do. I'm not just going to say, if you need anything, call me. Let me bring you dinner. Let me get you out for a ride. Let's go for a walk. Do the things you say you're going to do. You might have an impact. You might think it's small, but it could save someone's life.
Tell me you're going to say that Friday.
Yes.
How are you going to get through that story? I started tearing up thinking about that. Step into the void. They got to step into that void. There's a void. Step into it.
I don't know. I mean, it's
Wow.
things. It's just my brother. My brother's 45 years old now. He's one of the strongest people I know. I hated him, to be honest with you, for a long time because he held my family hostage. with the substance use and the suicide attempts and the just. But I learned that
He was
I
sick.
didn't want to blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's helped me, and our relationship is so much better now. But man, all I can think about is, why couldn't you just take him fishing? Just something. Something. And they didn't. They failed him.
Well, you're gonna make me cry now because my brother was probably 13, Matthew, when we lost Mark. So it's that weird age at 12, 13. What am I? Who am I? You know, am I a man? Am I a boy? What am I? And wow, just stepping in that void. Hope you challenge those folks. I'm going to challenge these folks at this memorial. The postvention piece again. These are all people that lost somebody, so there's a loss thing. By the way, I am going in October, and boy oh boy, if anybody could help donate, because I ended up buying the ticket and I had to register for a conference, and it costs a lot of money. But I'm going to a loss meeting. Loss meeting says after somebody dies, what happens? Does the community rally? Do you have volunteers in the community who show up at the house? Say somebody lost a sibling.
Consistently.
Oh yeah. We don't forget you, but like if somebody lost a sibling to suicide and they call me up and say, Dennis, you need to go to this guy's house. He lost a brother to suicide. And I walk in there and I got a box full of stuff, just blankets and all this other stuff, but I also look at them straight in the eye and said, I know exactly what you're going through. And normally the reaction would be, oh, bull crap, you have no idea what I'm going through. And then you look at it like, no, I know exactly what you're going through. Sit down and we got to talk and just help guide them through the grieving process. Not going to rush it, not going to speed it up. It is what it is. But just let this person know you are not alone. It's not your fault. I've got your back. So these lost teams, we don't have them in South Carolina, and some states do. Listeners out there, you may even be volunteers for those lost teams. But the guy that started, his name is Frank Campbell, and he's like the godfather of this thing. He's speaking in Omaha. So I'm going the day after
Why
my
don't we
birthday.
have one in South Carolina?
We have, no, our local suicide prevention program does send out boxes and stuff. But I need belly to belly. I need bodies, and I'm going to try to build
You're
this.
a beacon of hope.
Yeah, coalition or
When
something.
you,
Yeah,
you walk into the room, you say that, I would think, okay, this is somebody that's made it through hell. So you say there's a chance.
yeah.
Maybe I think my situation is different, but man, this man just walked in. He said he's been there, and here he is standing upright and helping. I mean, that's a beacon of hope.
And it's funny you say that because some people, when they go to my talk, they don't expect the guy up there. It's brutal in the beginning when I talk about my brothers, but they don't expect to see a guy laughing. Like somewhere in the show, I start laughing because stupid stuff I did. I'm laughing at me. I'm not laughing at disease state or anybody that's suffering. I'm like, this is some of the stupid stuff I did, post-traumatic behavior, and I laugh at it. And one girl told me one time, I think it was down in Aiken, by the way, where you're going. She goes, "You owe me
Oh,
money
Lord.
for mascara." I'm
Oh.
crying and I'm laughing, but so people need to see that side too. Like you went through hell, and guess what? Every now and then you can still pop a smile. How does that happen? When does that
I
come
think
back?
that was what was the biggest healing point for me when when I learned to speak through NAMI, and they were like, okay, talk about the person. And I was like, kind of forgotten about the things he was hilarious. He was a weirdo. He was eccentric. He cooked strange things for his kids and nobody wanted to eat it. You would sit down at a plate and there'd be a fisheye staring at you, and I talk about that. That was true.
Yeah.
And people that know my dad would tell you that. Like, yeah, people wrote in my annual, your dad's crazy, but everybody loved him. If you came to my house with beer, he was going to take it from you and call your parents and then take your beer and drink it right in front of you until your parents got there. That's the kind of
Nice.
person he was.
Nice. Free beer.
Parenting style, not so much. But hey, he was a fun guy.
That is fun, guy. So, memorial services. So, you done the thing with the walk? I did a couple walks with my brothers. I went. You know what I did? Another interesting one. After I did the one in South Carolina, I decided to go home to the walk where my brothers, the county, Rockland County, had a walk where I grew up in New York, outside of Valley Cottage, New York, and I decided to go home, and they were actually having the walk at this state park called Rockland Lake State Park. And it was at there's two ends, at the north end, and the north end where I was speaking that day. They asked me to say a few words. I could see through the trees and there was a cemetery where my brothers were buried. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I took this thing home. It was
Mm.
crazy. I was probably 200, 300 yards from where my brothers were buried. Like I could hit a golf ball through the wood to the plot. And I haven't been back up there in a while. I went back up this summer. I have to get back up there. I'm hopefully going to get a speaking gig in New York. Crossing my fingers because I want to go. Now my mom and dad are up there too. They're buried up there, and
Mm.
there's four. Think of it. There's seven of us. There's four of them in the dirt. And I need a visit. So hopefully, pray that I get this New York gig, because I can stay with my sister and go over to the cemetery because I feel like I haven't been there in a while.
So let me ask you something about these walks. So there might be a reason why I haven't ever been. And I'm going to be completely transparent here, folks. I'm always afraid of how people are going to act there. Is it sad? Sometimes I don't want to be sad about. You spend so much time being sad and trying to keep it away, and then you get around people and this is what you're focusing on. Sometimes I can't do that. I just can't.
No, it's a good mix of stuff. I was reluctant the first one I did. It was down at a park, and I said, you know what, I'm going to wear like a jogging suit or something, because if I don't want to do it, I'm just going to pretend I'm jogging and run right by the damn thing.
Yeah.
Pretend I'm like, "Oh, look at those people, look at those bunch of losers. I'm not, that's not me." Meanwhile, I have two brothers I lost to suicide. Now, yeah, becoming a volunteer for the organization and being the walk chair one year. It's a mix. There's a meditative part. We light candles and stuff, reflection. And then, when you're walking, you're talking to people, and you're talking about stories, and you're sharing. And then there's a board of memorial board. People write stuff on. There's vendors there like Nami. They have tabling opportunities. There's face painting. There's balloons for the kids. So it's a mix. So whatever you want, you'll get. But there will be a somber moment. I'm telling you right now. You walk up to a table and you get those memory beads.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I had to get two of them, and they're still. And then I was a volunteer and I was doing the beads, and then I didn't even think about this, but my mom was there, and she comes up to the table, and I have to hand her two of the beads that are white, which means you lost two kids. I wasn't ready for that. I'm like, holy crap! I should have thought that through. I had handed my mom the beads, and
Yeah.
anyone
It's
who came up and got the white set of beads, which was a kid,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
broke my. I'd come around the table and hug them every time. Sorry if you lost. Most other people's siblings, I give them the beads, and they saw mine, and so brother, sister, whatever it was, and then whatever they were. I don't mean to say flippant, they were, but the white ones got me every time. Oh, they were awful to give out, because my mom,
And multiples. And when you have to give out more than one.
two to my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, that about crushed me. Was she warm? She's a trooper. My dad, this is a male thing. My dad and my mom and dad were married for 60 years. And, sometimes when there's a loss of a child, it could
Yeah.
separate the family. They went all the way 61 years, and then he died. My dad drove my mom to our house, and then when it came time to get in the car, my dad said, "Nope, I'm going to stay right here at the house," which is fine. He didn't want to go to the memorial. But when I did the one in New York, when I went back home, he came. And he sat there, and my uncles, my cousins, and everybody. And that was more, believe it or not, Jessica, that was more joyous. That was more storytelling. It was like closure. My one sister wasn't too happy that I was doing it. And then she showed up. And then she's the one at the end. She goes, "I'm so glad we did this. I am so glad we did this." You just almost put a bookend on it. Like, you're like, all right, this is where it goes. Not forgetting it, just putting up on your mental shelf going, all right, we did everything. We did the grieving. We did a memorial. All right, we got it. We miss them. We love them. Here's where they go in our hearts. So highly recommend it if you're in the Eagle County area, Vail, Colorado. I go on at 10:15. So if you show up late, I don't know, you might want to come after that. No,
Don't walk in the middle of it. It gets a little awkward.
I'm a diva. No, it's they were 9:30 a.m. registration and brunch, and then I go on at 10:15, speak for about 45 minutes. Then they have a ceremony, a remembrance ceremony, reflection opportunity, meditation and tapping. I'll see what it is. I'm all in. I'm going to do everything they asked me to do. And they have photos of loved ones they'll print out. And I sent mine already. Yeah, I sent it. It's going to kill me when I see it. Like this
Yeah.
girl set it up and she goes, I'll print it out for you. And I said, all right, here, I just sent it because it's a PDF and I have to look at it. She's going to print it out and I'm going to touch it. And I'm going to lose my crap right there. But it's
Speaking,
part of the process.
I mean, it is. And I mean, if people are listening, I mean, Dennis and I have many, many, many years since our loss. So don't feel embarrassed if you are still dealing with grief. You know, it's honestly, it's a lifelong grief, but not the kind of grief that it is grief that you can manage, I would say. I wouldn't want to not feel grief from, I mean, would mean that he wasn't a part of my world
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to numb it. You want to feel the person. You want to
No.
honor him with the grief. And then they always say the deeper the grief, the higher the love. It hurts. Now,
Yeah.
I facilitate a loss meeting, by the way. That's another thing we do at the Hafasara Foundation. And I was a participant at a meeting one time. And when I lived in Columbia, South Carolina, I was a guest. And we were all talking about our losses. And then this mom and this daughter walked in, and they just lost somebody, like the
Mm.
husband and the father. So it's one person, but the wife was there and the
Yeah.
daughter. So they just lost somebody, Jessica, and the whole room changed from like, all right, my story doesn't matter right now. We got to cater to these folks.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was raw. It was like, we're all I lost my brother Mark, 83, 94, blah, blah, blah. And these people coming out, oh, I lost my dad last month. We're like, whoa. It was all hands on deck. It was cool to see
Should be.
it was
Should
cool to
be.
see the dynamic of their whole group change like that. Like, you know what?
Hmm.
These people need help. So if you ever need to attend a loss meeting, I will help you find one. Just reach out, dennis@halfashour.org. I will find one in your area. They're everywhere, but they're a little tough to find. They're not like advertised. It's not like it's on the community calendar,
It should be.
the local chamber of commerce. It should be, I know, but
It
it's not
should
like,
be.
hey, you put the S word in there and everybody runs.
Oh my gosh. About, you're talking about loss. When I was in school for social work, I guess then I was in my 30s, late 30s. So it had been,
It's about 4 years ago.
15, yeah, right, 15 or 16 years since my dad died. And they sent us to this grief. It was a bereavement camp, Brett's Rainbow. I was woefully unprepared. It wasn't just suicide. It was a lot of suicide. There was murder. There was child, losing a newborn stillbirth. I mean, there was like just, your
Any
husband
grief you
died of.
can imagine.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, Dennis, I was like, what am I doing here? I was a fish out of water. I had never, I mean, I'd gone through it, but I'd gone through it from the other side. It was my first time from the side of, you need to keep yourself together because these people need you. And I'm honestly will never forget it. I did it twice. My best friend came. She had just lost her ex-husband and brought her daughter who had lost her father. But man, I have to tell you that it was really, really hard. Really
Wow.
hard.
Well, that means maybe there was some unprocessed grief
There
in Jesse.
was.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know it, folks. You get out, you do things, you think you're ready, it's okay, you're supporting. And then, I mean, it happened to me doing my NAMI training. People had lost people 2, 3 years ago. They were keeping it together. I had lost my dad 30 years ago, and I was a blubbering idiot. But I was an idiot and crying because I was like, holy crap, I haven't let go of all this. And it changed me.
That's crazy how grief works like that because I lost my crap at a training soul shop. It was at a church. It's for church leaders. I was a participant just to evaluate it for the good. I was a chapter board president for AFSP, the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention local chapter. I said, Dennis, go to this thing, see if it's any good. We're going to endorse it, I think. So I went to it. Halfway through the program, I lost it, man. They asked us to write a prayer with the word suicide in it. It was one of the best trainings I've ever been to, by the way. But I cried all over that paper. There were wet dots on that paper. I was like, holy crap, I never did this.
Yeah. I
You never
mean,
know. when the monkey jumps on your back.
But now I own it. Like, I'm okay. When I was telling you earlier when we were talking about my brother, I mean, yeah, I got teared up, had to take a moment, but okay. We're people.
I lost it on stage one time.
I may lose it on stage.
Well, we'll find out. No, I changed the pictures of my brothers, and I turned and I looked at the picture of Matthew, my little brother, and I did it in my slides, and I just changed a photo.
Yeah.
And I'm on stage at Cornell, and I turn and I look at the screen behind me, and I see the photo, and I go south like that. And I'm the
And
speaker.
it comes out of nowhere.
The monkey just jumped on my back and said, "Grief, how are you?" This is more like
I wonder why. I wonder why. You could look at that picture.
I put it in there.
Right. Like so many times, it's a part of what you do. And this one time, I mean, why is
I
that?
turned my head and I was on stage. So here's the funny thing. I was quiet. I was quiet. I was like, oh, shit, I'm having a moment. And the kids were so respectful. They were so quiet. They were so calm. And it may have been like 10 seconds, but when you're up there on stage and you get the microphone, it feels like an hour. And finally, I just turned around and I said, all right, I'm back. They were so awesome. They were quiet. Like, all right, this guy just had a moment.
It's powerful.
It was unbelievable. It screwed me up. Now I don't turn around anymore. I know.
I told you. It happened to me when I was doing one of their mental health trainings. And I was like, I don't know what I said, but I lost it. And I was like, I've done this 10 times. Why? Why this time? Something hit home. Sometimes when you're telling the story, I don't know if you do this or not, because you have to unpack so many things. And when you're doing memorials for folks, it's like all, it's even worse because, we talk about it a lot, like we were saying, but a memorial is literally for that person to honor them. Like
Yes.
it's totally different, right? And everybody has their own individual memorial there. I think that's why I don't do the walks. I swear, I'm just not sure that, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, put it
I
on your
donate. I just can't be.
put it on your to-do list one day. Just go as a participant. You don't have to do anything fancy. Just show up, see how it fixes it, or not. It may not be your thing. I don't want to force you to do anything. Just
I'm doing all night relay race. I'm doing it right now. I'm being joking, but I don't know. I may do it. I've signed up before, and I'm actually signed up a lot and just not gone.
That's all right. You do what you got to do to get by. I highly recommend them. They were therapeutic for me. That and working on the suicide prevention lifeline, and then the sobriety piece. Did I tell you about the billion seconds?
No.
All right.
Wait a minute. Is that you?
I'm going to be sober a billion seconds. A billion seconds is 31.7 years, which is crazy. That's how big that number is. A million seconds is 11 and a half years.
We had this discussion.
Yeah, we did last podcast.
I remember. I'm like, wait a minute. I've just heard that.
But I'm still coming up on it. So somewhere in April
Yay.
8th, I already crossed 31 years. Now I have to do the 0.7 years. That was another part of the recovery process. And I'm going to talk about that again. I'm still going back to this. I'm going to talk about it at this 2025 memorial ceremony for Speak Up, Reach Out. And then I'm going to be at the Bavarian Festival doing a polka dance.
With his non-alcoholic beer, folks.
With my NA beer. So
he will keep the
Do not rat me out. Do not rat me out. So that's our episode of memorials. We're going to speak at them. We do them. We participate in them when we can.
You do you, though. Grief is weird, no matter what. You do what you need to do,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You see I put something on the wall behind me. The audience can't see it, but it's a poster from our event that we did in Greenville. It's a Tough Subject Live. Would love to do more of those. If you have an avenue or an event or a venue somewhere out there, America, and you want to see a guy make a total ass of himself, no, I will walk you through the process of what happened with my brothers and then how we got on the other side of this thing, to the point where we're now doing a podcast called It's a Tough Subject. How crazy is that?
It's crazy.
In my darkest days, I never thought I'd be on talking about grief. It wasn't like I was like in third grade, and they said, "Oh, what do you want to be, Jimmy? I want to be a fireman." "What do you want to be, Bobby?" "I want to be a policeman." "Dennis, what do you want to do?" "I'd like to do a podcast on grief called It's a Tough Subject." They'd have me in the counselor's office in like 3 minutes.
Even crazier, like after your loss, would you have ever thought?
No.
Fast forward, you'd be sitting here talking to other people, and man, I wish I could go back and talk to my 18-year-old, partying, dropping out of school, doing crazy things, putting myself in bad situations, self saying, "Girl, you're gonna be okay."
And it's funny, all
Sure.
the advice we give and all the people we talk to, I'd love to give the same advice to my brothers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I think haunts me the most is the miss what they miss.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about the picture, have you? I don't know if you look like your brothers or not, but I look in the mirror a lot, and especially in the morning when I first wake up, and I see my dad's face. Very
Yeah.
weird. Very weird.
Matt and I look pretty close, pretty much.
Think of, I mean, your parents. You know, when it's just, I don't know. You hear about people with the twins that pass away by suicide. I mean, just
Yeah.
unimaginable.
Wow. All right. We're going to get through it. We're going to remember, we're going to reflect, and we're going to
September,
revitalize.
folks.
Suicide
September.
Prevention Month. It's also Postvention Month in my eyes. You know, you got to do what you got to do if you lost somebody. Take care of you. If you could attend some of these memorial ceremonies, do it. Again, I'll be at the Eagle Vale Pavilion September 7th. It's sold
That's
out.
fancy.
Okay, I just made that up. It's
Wow.
not sold out. I just made that up.
Jeez.
There's always room for somebody, right? Yeah, I got you on that one. You thought it was
You
cool.
did
No.
get me up.
Yeah, and a free event on sold out. Well, they do RSVP. They do ask for an RSVP. And then if there's one near you or something you can do, or if you want coaching through it, get a hold of me. I'll tell you how to do it. And just show up and just absorb, meditate, and honor the loved one you lost. That's our episode. It's a tough subject, Jessica. I welled up a couple times this episode.
I did once.
I had some
You beat me.
moments. I had some moments today that I didn't expect. I don't know what it is. I think that memorial service, having to know that I got to go talk to my tribe of people in the club that we want no more members. So it is a tough subject, and we're gonna do the best we can with it. So I want to thank
And
you.
special love to our producer, Tim, who is also dealing with some grief. So
Sure.
grief is complicated, no matter how.
Everybody who's listening to our voice is dealing with some form of grief, and if we
Yep,
could be of
that's right.
some service or give you some solace, you let us know. Hopefully this podcast helps. Jessica, it's been real. I've got to run. I got to prepare for this thing tomorrow. I'm flying out to Colorado, and boy, are my arms going to be tired. That's terrible. That's a terrible joke. Let's leave it
I
on
can't
that.
wait to get off of this and tell you about my flight from Nevada
All right.
and make you want to get on an airplane.
Please don't. Please don't. Wait till I come back and then tell me that story. All right. That's it. Season
Bye,
3,
folks.
episode 30 is in the can. Thanks for listening, folks. I'm Dennis. That's Jessica. It is a tough subject, but you've got this.